Okay, so yesterday's look at Oxygen Builder for WordPress really got some interested attention. And let's be totally honest here, if you're subscribed to this channel, and if you're not, why not? Hit that subscribe button right now. You're probably here to learn about dynamic web design, that advanced custom fields type stuff. Just for you, I'll be giving you a whistle-stop demo of how easy it is to integrate ACF into Oxygen, and I'll also show you how, if you're coming from Elementor or an ACF, how you'll be pleasantly surprised at some of the built-in functionality in Oxygen that actually requires third-party plugins inside Elementor Pro. Anyway, enough of the waffling, let's just get to the good stuff. Let's start off by taking a very quick look at what we're going to create. Now, this is not about aesthetics, this is about functionality. So this is not going to be a good looking layout like I normally try to do. This is just showing you how to do it. So what we've got is this simplified repeater section, which is like your archive page. And we've got a mix of normal post data and also some custom data. So things like the price is a custom field, and this sort of synopsis is also a custom field, whereas the date and the title, they're both just standard post fields that's part of WordPress. So I'm not going to worry about showing you how to use advanced custom fields, because chances are if you're watching this, you probably know how to use it. If not, there's tons of videos on the channel, and I'll drop a link or two in the description so you can check those out. With that being said, let's just jump over now into Oxygen and take a look at how we start to build this kind of thing out. Okay, so for this, we're going to be using Oxygen templates. So I've come into the template section of Oxygen, and what we're going to do is just add a new template, and we're just going to call this custom. So once we've given it a name, we need to do a couple of things. First of all, we want this to inherit the header and footer, the basic template structure that I've already created. And if you haven't seen how I've done this, check out my kind of intro to Oxygen video. Again, I'll put a link in the description so you can check that out. So it'll get you up to speed to where we are right now. But all we need to do is where it says inherit design from other template, we're going to select that and we're going to choose the main template option. Once we've done that, we can then choose what type of template. So we're going to come into other, and we're going to set this as our blog post index. Now, if you were using custom post types, you could set this up in a lot of different ways. You could use the archive, and you could set this to be based upon the post type, and then you could set custom taxonomies, all those kinds of things. Whatever you want to use to set up how and where this particular template is going to be used, you can do that. For simplicity, I'm just going to simply call the blog post index section. Other than that, nothing else I need to do. We'll just hit save draft on here, and that will then allow us to start editing this with Oxygen. So once we've opened up Oxygen, we're now ready to start. First thing I'm going to do is just use one of the library elements from one of our design sets, just to sort of replicate that header section that we have on the test page that I've just shown you. So we're just going to choose heroes, and we'll grab the same one from there. So we'll just add that in. Okay. Let's open up our structure now on the right-hand side so we can see exactly what's going on. So the first thing I want to do is add in a new section, and we're going to use that to contain our sort of repeater area. To do that, we're going to come back out of all of this, right the way back up to our basics, and add a section in. I'm going to click, and we're going to rename this. So we're going to just say rename, and we're just going to call this repeater section. I just find it kind of handy to give these things names because it just makes a little bit more sense when you're looking at things for your hierarchy. Okay, so now we've created the section underneath and we're ready to put in our content. First thing we're going to do is add in just a plain old title, a heading section, and we're just going to give this some text. So we'll just set that and we'll just call this post repeater. Let's put a capital at the beginning. There we go. Okay, so inside our repeater section, we now have our heading. What I do now is come back in and add in the repeater. So let's just type in repeater, and there's our repeater widget. I'm going to click to include that. If we expand that out, you can see we've got a div inside there and nothing more. But you can see we have several divs showing up with this sort of box area underneath. So we can see we've got the repeater showing up in there. We've even got some pagination underneath. But at the moment, we've got no data inside there, even though it's repeating something. Now, if we take a look at this section on the left-hand side, you can see we've got a range of options. The most important is probably the query at this point. If we expand that out, we can choose the type of query that we want. So you can see we have things like default, custom, and manual, and we can also use ACF repeater regions. We're not going to be using that right now, but we will take a look at that in future videos later on down the line. So be sure to be subscribed to be notified when that kind of content is released. What we are going to do is choose custom. And now we get some extra options. First thing we want to do is set where we want our data to come from. So we're going to click and we're going to choose post in this example. But if you were using something like custom post type UI and you created your own custom post types, they would be listed inside here, and then you could create this repeater using the data that's inside your custom post type. So just for ease, like I say, I'm going to choose post from there, but you can also stack these on top of each other. You're not limited to just one. You can add more in. So that's nice to see. You can build more and more of these up. Come back out of there, we've then got the option for filtering. So we could filter on taxonomy. So you can say if any of the following taxonomies, or in all of the following taxonomies, or by the following authors. So we have quite a nice set of filtering options. Come back out, the order. We can order by a range of different things. So date last modified, and so on. And then you can set ascending or descending. And you also finally have the count option. So posts per page, you can set that up. So that's the first part of it done. Now we just need to get some data inside there and set a basic structure. So for this example, I want to just drop in 2 columns. So I'm going to make sure that I've got the div selected, and you'll see once I select div, it will highlight the first div. It won't select the rest of them because they're all just using whatever we set up and configure in the first area. The first div will be repeated on every single one underneath for all of the different entries from, in this example, our posts. So whatever you style inside here, this is kind of like your template. And if you're coming from Elementor, you'll know that where I've taken a look at using sort of WordPress loop things like Elementor custom skin and so on, we effectively create the design for that loop item, and then that's replicated with different data for each of the posts. And this is kind of using the same type of principle. Okay, so with that being said, we need to come back over. We want to add in, and we're going to say we want to add in some columns. So we're going to set this to a 50-50 column, and you can see now inside our div, we've got columns, and we've got inside there, we've got 2 divs as well. So now we can start populating this with data. So let's choose our first div, and you can see that highlights the first what looks like table cell. And now we can start putting in different elements. So let's just come in and add in, and we're going to just choose to put in there an image. You can see it'll put a placeholder in, and you can see it also repeats that underneath for all the different entries. Now we've got the basic building block in there. We just need to tell it where that information is coming from. So if we look on the primary section on the left hand side with that image selected, and if you don't have it selected, all you need to do is come over to your structure on the right hand side, open everything up until you find that image, and you can click on it, or you can click on the first image inside the main editor itself. With that being done, we can now just choose the data option underneath the image URL, and this now allows us to say where do we want to pull that data from. And again, if you're coming from a tool like Elementor, a lot of this is going to be very familiar. The terminology might be slightly different, the way that the things are sort of laid out might be slightly different, but the core functionality is primarily the same. So we're going to say this is the featured image because that's what we're using. We can choose the size. We're going to go for medium large just so I can get a nice look in there. And I'm going to set this to 600 by 600 pixels. Now don't worry, this is not going to sort of adjust the ratio of your images if you had portrait or landscape as opposed to square. It's just going to use the 600 wide, and it's going to retain that kind of ratio. So we'll say insert, we'll give that a second or two, and you can see that now updates and shows us the relevant data inside this. So all of our featured images now are being pulled in the order, the default order that they've been created. So we can still change that. We can come back up to the repeater, and we can come back into our query, for example. We can adjust things inside there. So we can say we want to adjust the order. We'll set this to be title, and we'll set it to be ascending. And we'll say apply query parameters. And after a second or so, you can see that now updates. So pretty cool, really easy, all built into this one particular section. Okay, so that's the first div populated with our image. We now need to go to the second div and start pulling in some of the additional data, the title, the extra ACF fields, and so on. So let's select that div. You can see we've also got options for all the layout options, so things like vertical, horizontal, the alignment. So if you want to set things left, center, right, your vertical alignment, all those options are available. I'm not going to worry about that. I'll leave that up to you so you can start styling things how you want. Okay, so now we need to put in something else. So the first thing we're going to do is add in a title. So we're going to come in and choose heading. You can see that just pulls the information in, and it just pre-fills it out with some filler text. So now we can easily change that, choose exactly what's going to be displayed in, and so on. If we double click this, we now get some extra information at the top, some extra options. And as you can see, there's things like alignment and so on, and your styling. But what we want is insert data. So let's just select this text. We'll delete that from there and we'll say insert data. And now we've got lots of dynamic data, title, content, excerpts, and so on, featured image, author, loads of info, including advanced custom fields, which we'll come back to in a moment. For this though, we're going to choose title, and we can set that to be a link if we wanted to. So that's pretty cool. So we'll set that as a link and we'll say insert. You can see it populates that with a little bit of a short code. Give it a second to go and pull that data, and you'll find that that will actually update and show you the actual physical headlines. As you can see, they're also links now. So now we've set the link up, we've set the title up. We can, if we want to, just easily come in and style that. We can choose from any of the font families. So let's just do Montserrat, for example. And we'll change the color on there and we'll set that to this dark blue. We'll set the font size to be something like 32, font weight to be 300. And we can set that to be H3. If you want to, you can come into your advanced settings and you can do things like adjust your spacing and all those kinds of cool things. I'll leave that as it is for now though. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is add in some more information. So let's come back into add and we're going to come and choose a heading. This time we're going to set this to something like H5. So it's nice and small, and we'll just quickly adjust the font on there. We'll set that to 14, set our font weight to something like 300. There we go. That looks pretty good. Actually, let's make that a little bit darker. Okay, so we've created another section. We can do the same thing again. We can just double click on that, remove the content, insert data, and this time we're going to just choose some meta information. So we can come in and we can say, let's just drop the date in there. You can, if you want to, format the date using the standard formatting options. For this, I'm going to leave it as it is, and it'll just drop it in the default option. And give it a second or two for that to update, and give that a second. There we go. So what we can do is, if we want to, we can just come in and we'll say published. So we can prepend, or we can put anything after that information without the need to have third-party plugins. This is one of those things that in Elementor, you can do it, but it's kind of a bit convoluted. So to be able to just simply double-click and quickly edit this information, add it in there straight away, super easy. There's also a couple of other things that I think are really useful in here, which makes the whole process really quick and easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to select this, we're going to come back up, and we're going to duplicate it. So duplicate content, give it a second or two, and there's our duplicated content. If you want to adjust the spacing on these, we can easily adjust the spacing on any of these by simply dragging those down. Pretty cool. Next up, we're going to just put in the price. Now this is a custom field that I've set up as part of Advanced Custom Fields. So what we're going to do is we're going to just change this data. So we're going to just delete that from there, come back up to Insert Data, and this time we're going to choose Advanced Custom Fields. From there, we can see we've got the list of all the custom fields that we currently have. I've only got two that I've set up. One is price, one is brief. Now the price is a numeric field, so we're going to click on that. Now you also see it says include prepend and append text if configured. So what exactly does that mean? Well, if we come over into our custom fields, you can see there's your prepend, there's your append. So prepend in this example is the pound sign, the currency symbol. So what it means is they will automatically grab that data if you've inserted it and use that inside this particular template layout, which just means it's super easy, because if someone changes that to something different, if you're working with multiple currencies, for example, well, it's really cool to see you could change that for whatever you wanted and it'll reflect directly in the site. So it's built in as part of the template. So I quite like that. Let's insert that inside there. Again, give it a couple of seconds. We'll click outside, let it update, and you see there's our price. It's pulled in the pound sign, which is prepending, all really super easy. So the final thing we're going to add in now, we're just going to add in some text. And we're going to do the same thing again. We're not going to worry too much about the styling at the moment. We'll come back to that in a moment. We'll double click, come to delete this, insert our data, come to Advanced Custom Fields again. This time we're going to choose the brief. And we'll click outside that, give it a chance to load in, and you can see there's the brief in this particular example. So it's really, really easy to pull this data in. But what about if you don't actually have any data in a given field? So for example, you might not have put a price in. How do we deal with that? Well, we don't need any third-party plugins. And again, this is one of those things that I think is really cool to see this built in as if it's been thought of right from the get-go. So let's just take a look now. The price, for example, is our third heading down. So if we take a look at our structure on the right-hand side, we'll click on that one, it highlights it. Now we can come out to the top left-hand side and we can use condition settings. We'll click and we'll say we want to set a condition. We'll add our first condition, And from there, we've got 3 steps. And again, if you're used to working with the conditions for working with templates and so on in Elementor, this is going to kind of feel very, very familiar. It works in a very similar fashion. However, if you're not, it's still really, really easy. We've got the condition to check against, how we want to check against it, and what we want to check against. So for this example, we want to open this up, scroll down to our dynamic data. We'll click on there, and then we just get to choose what is the dynamic data we want to use. So we know it's in advanced custom fields, and we know it's the price field, and we know it includes the prepend and append text. So we'll say insert that. So that's the first part. Now we've got how we want to check things. So we've got equal to, greater than, equal to, less than or equal to, and so on. We want to say that if this particular field is not blank. And finally, we just check the data field. So you can see custom value, or for this example, we want to come into data again, choose advanced custom fields, choose price, all the same options. So we're just basically saying, if this field is not blank, display the data. Simple as that. Close that down, and we've now added that condition to that particular section. Really, really easy to do. And you can apply that now anywhere else you want. So for example, you may have the image itself. You might not have images on everything. Well, you could adjust this, use conditions on that. Really, really quick and easy to do. Okay, so the final thing I want to do is just quickly apply a little bit of styling to this, and then we'll take a look at this on the front end. So what I'm going to do is just select this main div, and we're going to come in and we're going to just set up a little styling. So let's go into advanced. Let's come into our background, choose our background color, and we're going to choose one of these blues, and we'll just adjust the opacity on that so it's just a little hint. And we'll do a border section on here as well. So we'll come into our borders. We'll set this to be one of these. And again, we'll lighten this down a little bit so it isn't too overpowering. And we'll say we want to set that to solid. And we're going to set a border width of 1 pixel. So now we've got a border around there. Final thing we're going to do is come back out of this, and we're just going to add in a little bit of spacing. Now you can do this in a couple of ways. You can use the size and spacing option, and we can just drop in, for example, 20 pixels margin at the bottom. Or if you want to, you can easily just come over and you can drag this yourself so you can interact with it directly, and you can see that'll update in real time. And if we want to just fine tune and tweak that because the OCD in us is killing us, you can see how easy it is to do. And that is it. If we save this page now, or this template, we can test this out and see what it looks like on the front end. Okay, so let's go on to our test site, and we're going to come to the blog section where I've set things up to use that template, and there is our post repeater. And as you can see, all of our posts are being displayed inside there. And if we come back into the top, you can see we've got a price, but everywhere else where that value hasn't been set, that's completely removed from there using that conditional logic. So how easy was that? I mean, no need for third-party plugins to do what fundamental things we need to do with dynamic data. No messing around, just straight to the building the layouts you need with the data you want to show. If you'd like me to create more content like this with Oxygen, or if you'd like me to take a look at creating content on page builders like Brizy, Divi or Beaver Builder and how they integrate dynamic data, again, let me know in the comment section below. If you'd like to check out my previous Oxygen tutorials, you can click here right now and take a look at those. As always, all of the applicable links are in the description below, and if you've made it this far into the video, why not give that thumbs up button a click? It really does help me out. Now while you're there, if you like this content, why not also click the subscribe button and smash the bell icon? But if you didn't get value from this video though, well, you can hit that thumbs down button twice, as that works pretty well too. Well, my name is Paul C, this is WPTuts, and until next time, take care.